everyone. My name is Amber Gunst, and I'm the CEO of Austin Technology Council, and it is my greatest pleasure to have our former board chair and the CEO of SailPoint, Mark McClain, here with us today for our ATC interview. Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm well, Amber. Great to see you.
Always good to see you too. Better in person, though.
Oh, of course.
So I read this summer your book that you wrote, Joy and Success at Work, other books, and it was refreshing. Talk to me a little bit about why you came up with that format and what you really like about it.
Yeah, thanks. And I highlighted, I think, this in the forward that there was a book that was well-known business book 60 years ago or something now that younger folks may not know, called Up the Organization, which I'd actually always heard of and never read, and I did because the folks I worked with in the publishing group kind of said, hey, we have this idea to use this format. And I laughed when I got through it. I'm like, oh, he was way ahead of his time. This was a collection of blogs, basically, right? Because when folks talk to me about a book, I said, I'm kind of intrigued by that. I don't have time to do this right now. Solve that with some help. Obviously, a little bit of folks who help capture ideas and take first drafts and let me work them from there. But the other side of it was, I said, to my mind, a business book, you have to have like one big idea and 3 big sub ideas and then 4 sub ideas to those. And that's how you get a 12 chapter business book. I'm like, I don't have that one big idea or those 3. Yeah. But I said, I got ideas on a lot of topics that I can kind of throw out. And they're like, oh, we could use this format. And then they propose that. I'm like, oh, that's fun. That sounds great. I could do that. And I love the idea. And we borrowed that from that original guy, Robert. I just blanked on his name, Robert something. But the idea, like, everything I know about this in 5 minutes or less, right? Like every chapter is like 5 minutes or less of reading. I'm like, perfect. I could keep things to 5 minutes or less. That's perfect. I could do that. So yeah, it was actually quite a fun process.
Well, good. Now, what was the hardest part about getting started with the process? Because it's always that you see that cursor on that first page and how do you get going from there?
Yeah, I kind of worked this with our marketing and PR team, some great folks I've had the pleasure to work with for years here at SailPoint, and kind of said, I don't know how I can get to this, like we said a second ago, and we'll work you with a team. And the way we structured it was kind of how I've done a decent amount of things here at SailPoint, blogs and other things, like, wonderful team. So I'll interview, I'll talk with them. We'll just have a conversation. They'll come back with bullets or maybe even a first high level draft. And then I always like to say, I can claim writing because I either wrote and or edited every word before we release these things with my name on them. So I'm like, yeah, I can talk out loud, think thoughts, and then somebody could capture that. And then, let's structure this a little differently. It's just getting over it, like you said, Amber, that sitting down with the cursor thing, like, okay, let me just talk about this topic because I've lived it for 40 years as a business guy or whatever, not quite 40, but close. And how can I just capture some of my thoughts on this? And then it would almost kind of form its own structure as we got into it. It was really fun. And as I said all throughout the book, I'm actually borrowing and repeating a lot of great ideas and just kind of packaging them in one place. A few probably are somewhat original, but a lot of them are just some of the best stuff I've learned. And like, here, all together, this will help you, right? So it's fun. Just gotta, like you say, I love your phrase, just let it go. I hope it'll help people. If a few people don't like it, I'll live with that. That's sort of where I landed, I think, finally.
Well, I liked you a lot more even after that, and I already liked you a lot before. So, well, thank you again, Mark. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope everybody's enjoyed this ATC interview.